Right, Over the Ditch is back, and Lukey Whittaker is back in voice as well. So, firstly, hello, mate.
Hey, Paul, how are we going?
Very, very well. Well, I sent you a message last night, and you said if I've got my voice. There's some game of rugby on last night. Did you end up winning or losing?
No, I was refereeing 2 games of rugby league last night. So, yeah, the voice, it goes a bit wayward the next day. So, it's not too bad.
You're a ref.
Yeah. Dad wrote me into to helping Cambridge Rugby League, get involved in the reffing and get back to the game that's given so much to me as a kid. So, yeah, I just started off 3 weeks ago and, worked my way into the senior footy. So, it's been really good.
Seniors, so that's good. You must go okay at it.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, and got a couple of really handy referees that have been doing it for a long time, helping me. So, yeah, hopefully, in another month or so, they might give me a crack at the A grade. So that'd be really good.
That would be good. That'd be good. It's good to see you acting your age, though, mate, too, and probably knowing when you don't go for the physical stuff. Unlike NZB's very own Cambrai, have you been updated on the wee man's injury status?
No, I haven't. He hasn't spoken to me a little bit lately, but I'm guessing I need to flick him a message and say how you going.
Well, apparently he might have blown a calf out. He might be in a bit of trouble. I think he said to me, "Don't tell anyone" as well. But anyway, anyone that's watching this show now is well and truly aware of it. But decided he'd go back and play a bit of footy with some mates. Said, it's come off a very bad second best, I believe. So it might be a shortcoming. Maybe he should turn to referee and might be better up his more up his alley.
Yeah, well, he was quite a good runner, but maybe that those quick sprints aren't really his go. So maybe he should just stick to the marathon running, I think.
Yeah, he will indeed. For some reason, we've got a bit of a crackle. If it keeps up, we'll stop and start again. But otherwise, we'll just see how it goes. Just with Cambrai at the minute, and I better get it onto the right channel before I flick it over. Gavel House at what's going on there? Oh, wrong computer. That's okay. We'll go this way. I couldn't work out what that one was for a minute. Gavel House at the minute is up and going. There's 1 day. Actually, I should go back. I'll go back in a second. It's a bit over a day left to run, but there's some pretty important horses in this one. Of course, we've got their lot number 1, which is the Weanling Filly by Bettor's Delight out of Cullenhoo, making that a full sister to Marketplace. And then I think it's lot 14. There it is there at 90,000. Not quite on the market yet, but I would imagine can't be far off. Lot 14 at 90,000. That, of course, is Cullenhoo, who is in foal to Bettor's Delight. So you've got an opportunity of buying a ready-made full sister, or you never know, either a full sister or a full brother to Marketplace. So a huge opportunity. Make sure you keep on top of that. Go to Gavel House or standardbred.gavelhouse.com to keep across onto that one. So it's going to get a fair bit of attention, Lukey.
Yeah, well, the yearling at the sales went for pretty decent money. I think it was 240,000. Don't quote me on that, but great to buy into that family, and it's done a super job already. So it's it'll be interesting to see how much they both go for.
We just might stop for a sec, Lukey.
That'll be right.
Right, hopefully we'll fix that little audio glitch. In that was a bit annoying, but all jokes aside, it's pretty important for Gavel House. And I was going to say to you that how long they had left. I'm just trying to get to. I can't actually find where that is.
Usually Wednesday. I think it's usually Wednesday night, 7:00. Usually around that time.
Yep. So it's a bit over. And anyway, a day. Sometime tomorrow, it finishes. So very, very important going from there. A little bit of other stuff for some of my sponsors, Lukey, just while you're sitting there waiting. Aldebaran Park, great supporters of both New Zealand and also Victorian Harness Racing. They're selling 16 lots at this weekend's nutrient sale. So make sure you get across those horses there. I don't think there's any of those horses that are eligible for the NZB size, but of course, Yabby Farms also. They are. They've got it down to 11. Unfortunately, they've had to pull another one out the other day, but they've got 11. 2 of these are actually New Zealand size stakes. Lot 33 and 321. So sorry, lot 333. There's an extra 3 in there, and also 321. The Father Patrick out of In Rouge Colt. So, but there is in total 10 horses eligible. So if you're a New Zealander and you still want to buy, especially a trotter and a trotting filly, I know the Bold Eagle is a filly. The Village Mystique actually was the other one, 276. That horse Yes, I got it wrong there before. That's unlike me. But yeah, Bird Parker, Village Mystique, Bold Eagle, Sweet Lou, Better's Delight, Down by the Seaside, Orlando Vici, another Betters, a Ready Cash, and another Seaside. So huge opportunity for people to be able to buy horses still at one of the last sales coming up. And it is a busy time of year, these times of year. That is for sure. Lukey, how's the weather? Because I've got concerns for a recent Queensland lady who's moved over there. She's expressed how cold it might be today.
Yeah, well, I've gone from a t-shirt to a jumper, so I think you can understand that the weather here is miserable. It's cold, it is windy, and it is very, very wet. So winter is coming, considering yesterday was a lovely 24-degree day. Today it feels like about -3, so it's lovely.
We get a hard time here in Melbourne for 4 and 5 seasons. New Zealand can do the same thing, because I think Friday Christchurch was 27, 28 degrees and warm, and Cambridge was horrendous.
Yeah, it's very strange, really, considering some days it can be beautiful and sunny, lovely day, and then all of a sudden next day it's raining, cold.
Yep.
Yeah, it's everywhere, bit bipolar.
He's got his hands in his pockets too. I could see. You could tell it. It's still fresh out there. We're about due for a haircut, though. It's a wonder Mum hasn't sent you off for a haircut yet. What's going on there?
Well, Mum and Dad have been away, and I've been a bit under the pump, so yeah, I am due. But yeah, it's the last thing on the list at the moment.
I owe you an apology due for last week. I just got snowed under and we couldn't get a show last week, which was unfortunate because it was a massive week of racing, harness racing, full stop. We're going to start at the top. We'll start at Cambridge. Firstly, Lukey, your thoughts, sitting back watching it, what were your thoughts on the night as a whole? And I must say, in the warmth of the home.
Yeah, it was great. Sat here all night watching it, and the coverage is unbelievable with the people that we've got behind the scenes on trackside that make it happen each and every week. But the things that they did on the night and the coverage that they got out of it was unbelievable. And yeah, big ups to them for the night.
Yeah, they went all out. I reckon there was possibly, I think there was about 7 broadcasters there on track, bringing everything in. And it was one of those nights that needed it. I would imagine they probably had to abort a few things that they had planned as well, because the weather, just feel for the club, and so many people behind the scenes. It was, I was trying, like our cameras, like my cameras were drowned. I'd hate to, have those $100,000 broadcast cameras that they've got, because it just didn't stop. I think it stopped after the Betcher. It actually stopped raining after that race. It was the first time that it stopped that eerie drizzle. It was just a shocking night for everyone involved, but the racetrack performances were outstanding.
Yeah, they were, and it's a big credit to the club too, and the track curators with the times that they were still running and the condition of the track, how good it was, and obviously for new track records, yeah, it's a big ups to the club and what they were able to do with the track to keep it as good the whole entire night. So yeah, big well done to the club.
Yeah, it was, and I'm going to say a huge thank you to Breckon Farms and also to Cambridge, because they got me out there, and I must say a huge thank you to both of those for getting me across there. And would have liked to have done a few more things, but well, we'll be honest, I even sat inside out of the weather a couple of times, because you couldn't dry out. It was just shocking. But yeah, thank you very much to both Cambridge and Breckon. Look forward to being back there next year as well, because it was super exciting. We'll actually start by the race by Betcher first up. You've seen him before, Lukey, but a lot of the Kiwis actually got to see him firsthand the other night, Leap to Fame. He didn't let them down, did he? It was a cracking race. Really, from the get-go, I'm going to be happy enough to show the whole race here, Lukey, as they come out of the gate. We can talk about it in its entirety, but it was just on from start to finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it's great to see these big races. It wasn't a boring race, that's for sure, and usually these Group 1 races, they can be quite a boring race, but this one, yeah, from start to finish, it was exciting, that's for sure, Paul.
Lukey, you touched your microphone just before. Just maybe touch it again, because I just got that crackle, but we're going to keep going. It was, yeah, that's better. Don Hugo out in front. He copped his fair share of pressure. I don't think he was far from anywhere near disgrace, because he's still copping it now. I know Leap to Fame's 3D. Don Hugo's up the front, and they are just not backing off. I mean, they set a track record. They set it, distance record as well. And it was phenomenal. Merlin was outstanding, but right about here, I was thinking, geez, Granny, you've done a lot of work. You might just want to sit. But maybe about Grant Dixon and Leap to Fame, or Larry, as he's more affectionately known, they work so well together, don't they?
Yeah, they do, that's for sure. And probably the one thing about Leap to Fame is in the races that he's been beaten in the last few starts is he's been 3 wide to the chair on his own. And obviously with cover for that first 1,000 metres, he wasn't out there doing it himself. And, once Grant sort of got round to the chair and he thought, this is my chance to actually, set it to Don Hugo and see how good he is with me sitting outside him. So it's exciting for, not just New Zealand racing, but Australian racing to have the sort of race going. And, sitting at home, it was a great spectacle, that's for sure.
Back there at that winning post, I think it was just great to see both Grant and Luke both said, right, we're just going to run. Neither driver looked over their shoulder. They probably knew where most of the opposition were, but neither driver cared. They just said, right, it's just you and I, and we are off and going. Merlin, it was amazing. Merlin was, because he was off the bit with a lap to go. And, I said to Zach after the race, I said, I thought you might have been in trouble. He said he was just conserving as much energy as he was, he said, and looking after it. But this was phenomenal right here. And it was interesting talking to Grant. I said to him, did you think you went a bit early? He said, well, just at the top of the straight, he for a minute thought, geez, I might have asked too much of him. But great race. The 2 horses, Chase a Dream and also Merlin, champion horses in their own right. Like this, these are 4 of the best horses in Australasia right at the minute. It was terrific to see.
Yeah, it was. And, Chase a Dream, he's such a good horse in his own right as a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. And, just to be able to be 3 fence and doing no work, it really suited him late. So, big ups to Merlin too. He was super. And a horse that really caught my eye, first up against these big dogs was Pinseeker. He was massive through the line. And, Kim and Johnny Cox have done a great job with this horse. And, another 6 months in against these big top races, he'll be race hardened against them big boys, and he's going to pick up one of those big races in the next 6 months.
That's him there, second last in the picture. And yeah, you stole my thunder, but I don't care. I don't think anyone missed him on how phenomenal a run he was. But even there, he's still just third last. He's caught up in traffic. He can't get a clear run at all. And it's interesting, Luke. I reckon 2 of his best runs in open class has been when Johnny's been able to drive him like this, because he is such a big boy, and people start him favourite. He's going to be dangerous in some of these races. There's some talk he's going to the Inter-Dominion, sitting back, having a cold sit. Like, you look at him here, he's spotting 4 of our best horses, like I said, and I don't say that lightly. And he, a Republican Party's taken ground off him, but we know what Republican Party can do, and he's seriously taken good ground off these horses right on the line. And, I couldn't agree more. I think he was awesome. I think Republican Party was good. There's no worries there. But, Pinseeker's a horse to follow. I wear a Woodlands hat as well. And, he was awesome to see and go from there. But, great scenes afterwards too. Not anywhere near as robust as the trot, but Granny was very happy. And I know you've had a bit to do with Grant, and pretty quiet man. He doesn't give a lot away, but that meant a fair bit to him. I actually got 2 interviews out of him. I reckon that's a feat in itself. When you can get 2 interviews out of him on the one night, that's a big effort, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. He's a man of many words, Grant, and he's been very good to me when I was in Queensland, and drove a lot of winners for him. And he's just a very good horseman in his ride. And same with Trista, she's a very good horsewoman in her ride. And for them to bring Larry over and do what he did is exciting, and hopefully he can be back in November for the big one, and hopefully his brother can be there too, so it'll make it exciting.
Yeah, will indeed. And but Don Hugo will be there. I tell you, Luke, I count to 10, and then if it hasn't worked, I count to 10 again before I type anything. So don't type it. But a couple of Muppets. One person said, Don Hugo overrated. Speedy Squib or something like that he put on my post, one of my posts. And seriously, go back and have a look at the run. It was phenomenal. Merlin, like 3 deep early as well, only got beat a length. These are great horses. These are some of the best horses we've had. Just some of these Muppets on social media need to have a bit of a hard look at themselves, I think, and realise what they're saying. But I think, Republican Party, I think he's going to Queensland as well. He was terrific. Didn't get a lot of clear traffic. And he's possibly one of those horses that in those open class races has to be driven that way. So he's always going to need that little bit of luck. But, if the big boys aren't there, Republican Party's always going to be dangerous as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, for the first 600 metres of the race, Republican Party was in that hard burn. So, he was still taking ground off them late. And obviously, once he was 1 out 4 back, it was always going to make it hard when they were running the times that they did. So I think his run was super in his own right. And, he's one of those horses when he can get the right run, following the right horses on the fence like he did in the Hunter Cup, he's always a big chance.
Yeah, I was talking to Tommy Patterson afterwards. I'll keep out of the big boys with Duchess Megxit. They couldn't believe, how brutal the speed was and that. But I think she's heading to Menangle in May for the ladyship races. I think they're going to try for those if she pulls up okay. And she dropped out. And Don't Stop Dreaming, that's not his go, doing that much work early. He dropped out, but Craig never knocked him around after he started dropping out. So I think all in all, it was a great race. Yep, there was a couple that got beat a little way. I wouldn't take too much out of it, though. I think, like a horse like Ricciero Rocket, again, he was another one that got no luck and couldn't really get into the race. So Harker Connor, he's only had 2 runs back from a spell. I noticed he scratched this weekend, but, he's coming off a long injury spell as well. So all in all, I think it was pretty good racing right across the board.
Yeah, it was, that's for sure. And it's unfortunate, like a horse like Duchess Megxit in her own right, but, she's a mare taking on the best horses in Australasia, and, she's going to go to Aussie and compete in the mares races, and, she's going to be a very good horse over there in her own right, but, it's sad to see like a horse of her calibre having to go up against the big boys, and even when she's, first start back out of off a spell, she's got to line up against the good ones, so it makes it very tough, for a horse like her, and, she's going to go over the mares races at Menangle, and she'll be very hard to beat over there.
Get you to touch that microphone again, mate, whatever you have to do to it, because it just brings it in every now and then. You must have a little bit of static, but we'll get that part sorted out. It fixes as soon as you touch it. Rightio, the Tab Trot was built up as, one of the great trotting races. That horse on screen, the Locomotive, of course, got an Elite Lop invitation. Unfortunately, not as promised, gallops. And then right on cue, also Oscar Bonavina. Probably marred the race a little bit, Lukey, but also probably made the race in a way too, because RC Phoenix wasn't able to just pounce on the front. I think he's got more gate speed than Oscar, so he would have got past him and just held him up for that little bit, which threw that little bit of seeded doubt, I suppose, if you like, if how the race was going to pan out. But then once they got into racing formation, it definitely wasn't as exciting, if you like, as the Betcha.
No, it probably wasn't. But once either the Locomotive or RC Phoenix found the front, it was probably always going to be that sort of race. But they've still run very good time and, track record as well. And, RC Phoenix, he's been a very good horse in his own right. And, it's a big ups to Chris and the job he's done with the horse. And I thought last start in Aussie was super. And drawing inside the favourites, I thought he was probably one of the best chances in the race. So, the Locomotive was super in third. And, the good mare and Queen Elida, she's just a super mare, and the job she's done to finish second again. She finished second last year in the race, and she's done it again. So what a horse she's been for Tony and Cheryl Barron as well. So there's another great race.
The other mare, and I haven't spoken to Pat yet, I'm Ready Jet, something's gone a little bit pear-shaped, whether she didn't handle the track or that, but you can just see she just dropped a length off Queen Elida. It wasn't the burst of speed. She can keep up with those this far out from home and just trots horrible around this turn, and eventually she gallops, but you can see she's hanging on Kate. I don't know. She just gets very rocky here behind, so I think she may have been a victim of the track, and you can just see there she jumps it off. Oscar gets caught back in there. But, I think what you said about Queen Elida, we forget she ran second last year, and she was awesome this year. She actually, in a minute, looks like winning when she turned for home for a split second. She was phenomenal. But the leader, I've seen him do this a couple of times. Like, people don't remember, he beat Just Believe doing exactly the same thing, just Chris out in front and just free rolling. Over a mile, he's brutal. If you come across him over a mile, Chris just backs him and just lets him carve out 28s. And he'll just carve them out all day. So when he's drawn he's not one-dimensional, but definitely in front he's a lot harder to beat. But the race, I thought it was home here. And then just here, the mare, she just does not know how to give up. Like, she's taken on the big boys that many times and does not know how to give up, does she? She's trying to backside off.
Yeah, she is. Like I said, Paul, she's been a great mare for so many years. And, she's won some very good Group 1 races too. So the job that Brent Lee's done and, for the top people and Tony and Cheryl Barron, it's, it's great. I'd say she'll retire very shortly and come back down south, and I'd say she'll have a very good paddock at the Barons here in West Melton.
Yeah, I think she's on her farewell tour. She's racing this Friday night. We will touch on those in a minute, which is great to see. I know RC Phoenix is not hanging around. Chris is not overly comfortable going the Auckland way of going, but there is some chance he will be back in November on the South Island, which will be great for everyone there. The Inter-Dominion is his main priority at the minute. I asked Ashley Haynes last night about travelling overseas, and they'd all like it, but Chris just got a young family. There's probably every chance it's not going to happen. They're going to stay here and enjoy their life and enjoy the horse that they've got. And I think everyone's on board with that too, which is great to see. So, yeah, they're happy with that. And actually talking to Brad Hewitt with the locomotive, that's one of his not concerns, but things about taking him over is he's a family man. He likes Australia. He likes to be at home, but he's going to take him. But I believe once the Elite Lop's over, the horse will be staying, but Brad won't be training him. He'll stay over there with connections, taking him up over there. So he's going to stay over there for a few more races, which is good for the Australian public. Probably not that great for Brad, but yeah, hopefully he wins a few races anyway and puts us on the map.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, his gate's beaten his record here in Australia. Yeah, he's going to be an exciting horse and overseas, and it'd be great to see him compete over there against the world's best.
Muscle Mountain was good. I thought he was terrific, going wide, and Bet and Win going wider and drawing the second line. It was actually mentioned to me the other day that it's nearly the worst barrier you can draw, that second line in the trots, because you just can't get into it. But I suppose there's two ways of looking at that, isn't there? It adds a mystique. Someone's got to draw there. So if there's an odds-on favourite, say, like Larry Leap to Fame, if he draws the second line, well, you're going to have to see how good they are. So, yeah, I think they need a full field. So we need that second line, but I understand what some people are saying too. It'd be nice if they were all off the front. But then in saying that, you draw outside the front, you're in the same boat anyway. You're going to end up back there unless you've got blinding speed.
Yeah, that's right. You got to, as they say, it's only a starting position. So,
yep.
But it's so hard nowadays, and the times that they're running to try and make ground from the back, it's near impossible. And unless you are sort of trail or 3 fence and getting a good run, it's the times that they're running nowadays, it's nearly impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to highlight your thoughts. The 2-year-old Lukey with Andretti beating Fugitive. A couple of nice little up-and-coming horses with, I think both horses. I thought Fugitive was outstanding, and then the gate speed that Andretti showed up the straight was terrific.
Yeah, it was another great race, Paul, and obviously Andretti having that run under his belt last week as well is, Mark he's just a super trainer, and yeah, they just improve sort of those young ones. They just get better each week, and yeah, he was super Andretti. Like you pointed out, first up he was super, and yeah, he just obviously got better through the week, and yeah, the second horse is very good too, and yeah, it's going to be a good clash in the next few months anyway between the two.
Yep. You can buy a half brother to that horse by Huntsville. Actually, you need to touch that mic again for me too, Lukey. But Huntsville, I'd say you got a cord. You must have a cord on a cord, mate, if you can see.
Weird. No, it's just my iPad, so I don't know what it's doing. It's weird.
Every now and then it just gets a crackle come through. It doesn't matter. We know what it is, so I can point that out. The Dorothy Hicks, the N40 Racing Dorothy Cuts, race won by Kimberly Butt. Kimberly Butt is supported by Josh Devine, N40 as well. So it was a nice little fitting finish. There was a few people barracking for poor old Trista. I shouldn't say they were getting into trouble, but Trista Dixon, they all thought she had it right at the straight, but Kimmy got up and beat them just to spoil the party.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought it was probably a horse that was, they wasn't in the market, but had been going very good times and some good races, and was probably the forgotten horse with the barrier to drawn. And when it sort of got the run it did and sort of led and then trailed its last few runs, it was always going to be hard to beat. So Iron Brigade was really good in second and obviously doing a bit of work, and third always flying Sat Parks for the last 1200. So it was good in defeat too. But great to see these lady drivers races getting off the ground in such a big night. So yeah, it's great.
It was interesting too. I reckon the weather was possibly at its worst. This race here might have been actually the worst of it, and I'm showcasing this one because I think well done to David Branch. His mum trains the horse Romeo Foxtrot in front, but it was a huge thrill for him on their biggest night of racing. to get a winner. He was. I don't think there was officially tears, but they reliably informed me there was everything else but, Lukey.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the job that Cambridge Raceway did over the week, and for them to have a horse win on their biggest night of the year, that's very exciting. And you know, to see the staff after the line and the photo was I bet it was a very big night in the end.
Yeah, it was one of the great lines. You know Tony Hurley as well as I do, but they said, "Oh, were you surprised to be in front?" He said, "Have you seen how wet it is? I'm only going to be in one place," and that was in front. Which was a pretty good line. I thought it was, it was pretty true too.
He used to use that line in track work all the time.
He didn't miss. What a great race! The 3-year-old size stakes for the 3-year-olds. I better get Magnus Benro. So got to make sure we look after the sponsors. But this is a great little race. Hayden Cullen's got a terrific team of horses. Arafura was outstanding, I thought, but the mare whose name's just left me of Marks Without Me gets up to beat her. But terrific race this, and beside me 3 deep as well. So great little race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for sure. And you've touched on Arafura the last few weeks, and she's going to pick up a big one in the next 2 or 3 months. She was super again, doing all the donkey work and only just going down late. And Without You, what a drive by Mark. He knew the hardest one to beat was on his back, and he handed the right one at the right stage. And I thought the third horse was super too. 151. She's a horse on the rise, but never gone that time, and she's had to gone 3 wide round them from the 600. And I thought she was super in third. And it's the 3-year-old fillies. It's such an even bunch at the moment. It's great racing.
Oh, it is indeed. So I was just looking then. Without You's had 10 starts. I don't think Arafura would have had. I don't think any of these horses are into double figures. Obviously Without You is now. As far as starts, there's so much more great racing to come. So she's had 8 starts. Arafura all up as well, and beside me has only had the 6. These are fillies that are going to be around for a long time, and they're just really at the start of their career. Yeah, 6 starts for beside me. So that leads to great racing with these mares for the next year and a half. That's the best part about it. It's not like we're just going to be sitting back waiting for 6 months. They'll be racing for another year and a half. They're just young horses going through their grades, but putting on a great spectacle.
Yeah, 100% it is, and like I said, it's a very good bunch, and an even bunch like. With any of them can have the right run, and any of them can win. But yeah, I think Arafura, it's going to pick up a big one very shortly. And you alluded to it a few weeks ago that she's a horse. Probably another 3 or 6 months is going to be a lot better. So it's exciting. But in the other aspect of it is with the rating system, it makes it very hard for these fillies. They start winning more races, and they get up into that 70 or 80 grade, and they end up like Duchess Megxit. They've got to first start up, got to be in against the big dogs and the open class horses, and it just it's very tough on them to sort of come out of those fillies races straight into those open class. So
let's hope Harness Racing New Zealand listen and watch, and put more mares races on, put more grade mares, and declare you're going to do it now. So the connections with these horses say, right, we ain't selling, we're not going to stud, we're going to race them and continue to race them and go from there, because that's what we need. Our product needs these horses, and exposed form and good form, not rating 40 rated form. We want fast class form that punters can bet on and enjoy punting on. So that's that's my thoughts anyway, and I think it's pretty simple. Declare now that you're going to put us a few more fast class races on, put a bit of cash into it. The breeders will be happy, the owners will be happy, the trainers and drivers will be happy, and go from there. So anyway, that's my random rant for 5 minutes, but it probably could be another one. Rightio, the other of the sire stakes. Now, I've put it on here with a lap to go. You can better Anvil, the leader. I want people to just watch this horse here, because he gets worse in a minute. Lukey, sometimes I didn't realise they had like a tea room at Cambridge, because they've pulled down a lot of the buildings. So there's some little walls. So I actually sat right alongside Steve Telfer, sitting in this room with Bernie Hackett on the other side. Telf had a tongue tie around his hand, mate, and he got a wee bit nervous. I was actually worried at one stage that someone was going to get flicked in the eye, because he was pulling it that hard and twisting it. this horse was testing his nerve. He was confident he could win, but he's green. Watch him there right off the track. But it was a pretty good win, this win, when you look at how green this horse is.
Yeah, and he's been racing super behind Marketplace his last 2 starts, and I thought he was $23 was massive price for a horse of his caliber. Like I said, his last 2 starts he'd run 3rd behind Marketplace, and $23 they went up, and I took a little bit of that. So I knew the caliber of horse he is, and obviously once got the chocolates, got crossed at the start, and he found the front. It wasn't a pleasurous watch, but he's a horse that's in another six months when he turns into the horse he could be. He's going to be up there with the big dogs.
I just like this part here, and I'm just going to get gone too far. Just here, he's beaten here. There's no worries there. He's here. And then all of a sudden he pricks his ears and he's like, I better put my nose back in front. I'll just do it right on the line. And I can tell you, it did Steve's head in that part. Steve was like, he could have held it the whole time in, but he wasn't he? Those ears were unbelievable. And I caught him after the race too. There's a lot of improvement off that run. He was still very, very big. There's a lot of improvement in that horse going forward on a heavy track, and I know Timmy was shaking his head even still when he got back. He earned his money. Just touch that cable too. Greased Lightning was terrific, and I thought Got the Chocolates was good. Midnight Mickey and even Mediator, they were all good, but I think hats off to the winner. He was possibly the one. Well, he did all the work. He was too good on the line, and he's also the horse with the most upside, I think, when you watch his manners.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. And like I said, he'd been racing super, and obviously the wide draw made it tough. But once he found the front, and he's a horse that's very green. But yeah, he's going to be competitive in those big races behind Marketplace.
The Country Cup, I'll be honest, I actually didn't see this race because I was doing a few interviews. Matter Phil for the Blanchards. Yeah,
that's right. He had a good trip. Was his first standing start too, and obviously got a very good trip. And the wee mare Boudica, she's been a great mare in her own right, and she's a bit unlucky not to get one of those country cups. But she tries her heart out, and she was super in second.
Yep, and then the last race, the Dunstan Horse Feed. It's quite comical, the name, I think, but anyway, but terrific to see Nikki Chilcott bring up 700 winners. Just got to hit one other button. Sorry, man, I just haven't got it to full screen. 700 winners as a driver on Crazy behind the leader, and the noise afterwards, Lukey, was louder than any race other than the Tab Trot on the night. I think the noise from the locals was just outstanding. The people cheering her on, and I think one because she won the race, but definitely because it brought up her 700th win. So I think it was awesome to see.
Yeah, 700 winners. It's a big effort in her own right, and big ups to her. She's been in the game for a very long time, and I think one of her interviews said she's been waiting a while for the 700 winner. But Crazy, he's just one frustrating horse. Like you see him win like he did there, and I think he goes around every other start and gallops or paces away. But when he trots that horse, he could actually he could be anything. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Got a beautiful action. Like looking at him here, his action's just magic. So he does have a few issues.
Yeah, he does. He's always, when he trots, he usually wins. That's his problem. But yeah, if you see his record, most of it's he's been pulled up or he doesn't trot away. So obviously back to the mobile helped, and big effort by Tim Halder to get him back. He's obviously been to Australia, and
that is the same horse.
Yeah, same horse. Yeah, he went to
Jamison.
Darren Binskins maybe, and he was at Darren McCall's in Queensland.
And the Jamison boys had him as well down in
and the Jamison boys, correct.
Yeah, and because I think his form when they got him was either win or sent back to the trials.
Yeah.
That was his, if he trotted, he won. And sorry, I didn't realise that was the same horse. I saw the name, but I didn't Jerry. So, that is a good win. Good way to bring it up. I just love the one part about Nikki. If you go back and watch it on the inside range, she wasn't going to get suspended or nothing like that, but she was pretty pumped on the inside range. So I think it was awesome. And it was Night of Champions, and she is a champion. She was for a long time the leading female driver. Not now, but she definitely was for a long time. Rightio. back to you now. I'm throwing this part to you because I definitely did not watch Addington on Friday night. There were some nice results there. I think Renegade was terrific, but I'll leave the rest for you. I'll let you do some of them anyway. We'll just you tell me where to go.
Renegade was Sunday in the Cheviot Cup.
Oh, it was too. Sorry.
Yeah. So
Friday, was there much out of Friday night?
No, there wasn't a hell of a lot. Mr. Love, he's a horse, open class trotter on the rise.
Yep.
He was super, and that brought up Ben and Greg's first winners of training partnership.
Yep.
So that's so that's really good. Obviously, Nina's taken a step back, and Greg and Ben have joined in as a partnership. So yeah, they've got a lot of good horses and both great horsemen in their own right. So they'll take up a few winners very quickly.
Amanda and Hayden had another couple of winners. Hadron Collider, another good winner for them as well. Paul Nian. Benny Hill, he had a Quinella, that's right. So he actually had a pretty good weekend because with Arthur Shelby and Rockin' Good were the two horses that I did want to point out. And then Harrison John as well for Hayden and Amanda. So I don't know if Harrison has a middle name. But that was actually Blair Orange's first drive on Harrison John. Now, it would be pretty cool. I've looked it up, and he's only down as Harrison Orange. But wouldn't that have been cool if his middle name, if his last name, there was an omen bet if ever there was one. It was Blair's first drive on the horse, and he came up the chockies there as well. Did you race Friday night or Sunday?
Sunday.
Well, we'll keep our powder dry till Sunday. It's okay. I've got a few notes, but I didn't actually put your race in there. But I thought you'll definitely touch on that. Let's go to Sunday. Cheviot meeting. It was a good meeting. It was ran at Addington though, so under a different name, but a good class meeting, and it had some good winners.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, starting with the Cheviot Cup and Renegade, he was super off 30 metres, and he's a horse that'll head to the New Zealand Cup in November, and he was super again off a big mark and in a big field. So he worked around them to the front of about the 1600, and he proved too strong late. He got home in 55.7 and 27.6, so it was going to be very hard for them, the horses behind him, to try and pick him up. That's for sure.
He is a lovely horse, isn't he? Benny's got him in real good form, winning his last two. His start before that was terrific as well, and probably a couple of the better opposition still up north. Took the opportunity, but still a good field. And look at the size of the field. That's the other part about it. Yeah,
for sure. And it's never easy to win off 30 metres in any sort of field, but to do it with 15 horses in it, and for him to get 3 wide to the chair and then round to the front, it shows that he's a promising horse on the way up.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I want to point out. Murray Alford, he won the first with Aldebaran. Well, that's even a bonus. I didn't even know that was a horse, Aldebaran Redwood. But I don't know a lot about him, but he's been in the game for a long time. I reckon he's about my vintage because he's been training since 91. But only gets a winner every year. But good to see him winning a race on these big days. He had one starter last year for one winner. And this year he's had 7 and finally cracked it for a win.
Yeah, for sure, Murray's. He's been a very good horseman. He's one of Dad's best mates, and same with Colin DeFilippi too. So he doesn't train many horses, and he loves a trotter. So he's a horse that could win a few more races, and he's come back from the grass to the grid, and he was very good winning on Sunday.
Yep, just touch that mic again. Malcolm Little bred race 2, the 2-year-old with Black Laz and Treacherous Dreams Quinella in it, both bred by Malcolm Little. I spoke to Cambridge earlier, and he said it doesn't breed a lot, so that's a great effort. 2-year-olds this year, and sold both NZB sales last year. They're both graduates of that sale, and terrific for them to go 1-2.
Yeah, for sure. Sitting down watching that at home before I went to the races, and there's a lot of nice, promising 2-year-olds on the way forward, and Black Laz was very good. But I thought the second horse was super in its debut run, and did a bit of work early, and found the line really strong. So I think he's a horse to watch in the next 6 months too, going forward, Paul.
Yep, and Lawrence Hanrahan, he's a very astute trainer, but he had a double on the day, but they actually brought up his first 2 winners for the season. I know he hasn't been in the best of health either, so that would have been a nice little fillet for Lawrence.
Yeah, it would have. He gets a lot of horses that have a few problems, and he does great jobs with the horses he gets, and he's had a few nice horses lately and done really good jobs with them, and obviously his health's not in the best order, so for him to pick up a double was great.
No, Yep. Atletico won with for a double for Mark and Nathan Purden. It's one thing we didn't mention. How cool is that? Mark Purden training same day. No, day before. His first thoroughbred winner. I think that was awesome as well.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, he's obviously only got a few in work, and he's a very good trainer with the harness horses. And listening to his interview, he said, "Oh, I'm sort of just taking it day by day," and he's obviously got a lot of great help from him around the Matamatas track. But yeah, those harness boys, they love trying to get a galloper winner.
Yeah, it was. I should have wrote the guy's name down. I listened to that interview. Buster Shaw, the gentleman's name Shaw. I actually got to meet him with Mark when Mark first went there. The day Oscar actually stepped foot on the track for the first time, Mark took me out for lunch afterwards, and I met this gentleman because Mark told me that he was a guy that was responsible. He was been a good trainer in his day, and I think he's retired now, and just kept trying to push Mark into it. But Jasmine Fawcett, I looked her up. Her 331st winner is one for the ages, because no one else can say they've ridden a winner for Mark Purden. Like, it's just that's a cool little thing to have on your resume. And it's an amazing that a trotting trainer, there'd be so many thoroughbred people would be aware of his name. So it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the harness blokes, they love trying to get a galloper, but there isn't too many gallopers that have tried to get a harness horse going. So yeah, it's
Mark might be moving them. You never know. He might he might be moving them. Zoltan Bossack ran second to Mark Jones. Mark Jones is another person who's had a terrific couple of weeks. I think he's had 3 or 4 winners himself, so he's had a good run. Any excuses?
No, second was really good to run second this week anyway, because he's in a $50,000 race on Friday night, and if he won, he would have been off 10 meters. So it's good that I didn't win.
No, very good. And I don't know how many Blair had. I'm not going to count them up, but Blair did what Blair does. There's no problems there. One other one I did want to point out, and this gentleman I'd say is well and truly my age, Alan. I'm going to go with, you're not even brave enough to say it. We'll go with Shutkolski. Hopefully I've done it justice there. He's had 3 winners for the season, but he actually trained the first and second Quinellas. I think these little achievements are pretty cool for people to be able to point out. He's only had 53 winners, but to go 1-2, that's a big effort for him.
Yeah, that's right. And he's only a trainer with a couple of horses in work, so to get a Quinella on your home track's pretty exciting.
Yep, absolutely. Right, are we going to preview Friday night? Have I thrown you under the bus, or have you done anything for that?
No, I have.
You have. Very, very good. Are we going to start with?
I might touch on a couple of milestones first, though.
Okay. Yes, please.
Obviously, a couple of weeks ago we had Bernie Hackett 500 training wins, and Michelle Wallace, she trained her 700 winner.
Yep, great people, very passionate as well, and it's they love the game, that's for sure.
Yeah, they do. They do an outstanding job with the trotters that they get, and their run at the moment's been outstanding, and they've got a few nice trotters behind them. So going into those big races in the next couple of weeks, they'll be thereabouts anyway.
And you touched on Ben Hope and his dad, their first win as a partnership. It's quite funny when you said Nina taking a backward step. There was only one person looking after Muscle Mountain. I can tell you that on Friday night. She might be the most overrated, overqualified, not overrated, overqualified strapper nowadays. But when you train 900 winners, I don't think you're officially a strapper. But yeah, she was well and truly in charge. It was good to catch up with her, actually.
Yeah, that's good. And Jared O'Reilly, he drove a 700 driving winner too.
Yeah, another great milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And he's been a great horseman for many years, and 700 is a massive achievement.
Yep, it is indeed. Rightio, where are we going to? Where are we previewing? Which track we're going to preview first? Something about that hair. I'll have to send Mum a message about your hair.
I've been busy.
Yeah, right. Where did you want to start?
We'll start at Auckland on Friday. We've got the NZB Standardbred Harness Million Group 1 3-year-old trotters.
Yep, I've got that one. That's where I actually was. So I'm glad you went to there. Great supporters of mine. Breckon Farms have 4 horses that they've bred racing to, but also got the return of both Higher Power and Meant to Be. Interested in your thoughts on this race, Luke. One thing I did pick up the other day at Cambridge trials have been washed out a couple of times. Both Meant to Be and Higher Power may have missed a couple of crucial trials, mate.
Yeah, that's right. And, a couple of very good 3-year-olds fresh up for this race. And, they were very good last year. And it'd be interesting to see how they come back, the two great horses. And, be a great duel between those two. And obviously, Love's been in very good form and, trotting very well. So it's it's going to be a great race.
It is indeed. Good field, good trotters. Just touch your cord again, mate, while I get you to, we'll go to the next race. But, but just one word of warning that I did hear that they've been missing a little bit. Well, I don't know if they've missed work, but they actually went into the trials at Pookie and came home because the track was too wet. So they didn't even put them around that track. They would have worked them at home. But we all know that not always the same. So just be aware of that. But definitely great to see Meant to Be. He's an exciting horse coming back. The Lone Star Lyell Creek is at just before 6 o'clock for us Aussies over here. But good field. But Queen Elida gets a barrier draw on a couple. Not as promised. Josh Dickey gets a drive. And I noticed earplugs have been put back on, Lukey, which I'm great to see.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very, very even field for this trot. And any of the 6 runners can win the race. So, my pick's probably Queen Elida, and hopefully she can go out with a bang.
Yep, and continue on that way and win a Lyell Creek. I don't know if she's won one of those before. And then the Taylor Mile, good field. There's going to be a few question marks on a couple of these horses, I reckon. I don't know what you think, Lukey.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's back over the mile again. It's going to be exciting. And, Merlin drawing the outside of the gate, he was super, obviously, in the race by Betcher. And, there's a couple of horses that have been flying. Obviously, Moanga, he didn't get a start in the Betcher being emergency, and Jollymont won, 2 starts ago. So, it's a good even field, isn't it?
Yeah, and you wonder, like Merlin had a tough run. Republican Party, they had tough runs. Even Rakiro Rocket, it was tough in the wet. Obviously the trainers know what they've got. They're prepared to back them back up. But also, like, sooner the better. He spent the weekend in the box. Like you say, Jollymont, Moanga. They all spent the time. We Walk by Faith was good in the Cup. The race before the Betcher. Couldn't get into the race, but you just wonder. So it might be a couple of these ones that stayed at home might get the advantage, mate.
Yeah, that's right. And even a horse like Little Spike, he was unlucky at Cambridge the week before the Betcher. He obviously got a check on the first bend, and he was actually in the same spot that Chase a Dream was going to be in. On his form, in his last couple of starts, he could have been the possibility of winning the race. Like, obviously it's hard to say with racing and things like that, but he was going to be in the 1-1 where Chase a Dream was. Like, he could have easily won the race too. So, definitely a horse that's flying at the moment, I think.
Yep, Crystal Hackett on too, so it goes from there. 2-year-olds stepping out. See Johnny Dunn's driving one for Mark and Nathan. I don't think Mark got a suspension the other day, so he might be just having the weekend off.
He's probably living a good life at the moment, Mark, and enjoying it while he can.
But Angelique Copy with the NZB Weanling sales coming up. Of course, she's a graduate of that 2 years ago. The Fear the Dragon filly, I think it wasn't that cheap. Wasn't that dear, sorry, for the guys at Macca Lodge. And I think they're bringing some horses down. Entries closed for that at the end of this month, so don't miss that. And actually, while we're going, Lukey, I found one other one that is stepping out that I'm going to say good luck to. I just got to find the race. I might get it off so as I don't look like a complete goose, because I think I've got to go through just about every race. But Arna Dolling's got a trotter having its first start. And it's actually bred. It was actually bred by Stacey and Matt Peden, Stacey Markham and Matt Peden. I get in trouble if I call her Stacey White. There it is. Is it? Nope, it's not that race either. I'm sure I saw it going to step out. Maybe it's in a late race. Might be this one here. There it is. Yeah, I found it, mate. But just going to say good luck to Stacey, of course, with Woodlands. But it is horses, and it's called Quicksilver, cleverly named for Arna Donnelly, David Butcher taking them. I don't know if you saw it, Lukey, but it was a beautiful steel grey horse at the sales. I remembered it, and I've been wondering where he's been for a while. So hopefully he steps out good for the connections. I think he's he might be. No, he's not. No, I think he's a What the Hill. He is a What the Hill out of a Monkey Bones horse, but I'm pretty sure. No, it's at the other track. That's why. But yeah. All right. Anything else from there, Auckland? You want to point out?
No, all good, my end. Thank you.
Voice is going. What about Addington? Have we got anything to preview for there?
Obviously just the Future Wealth Sire Stakes age trotters. That's for 4-year-old and older.
Big field, this.
Yeah, it is. It's a big field and very good field of horses that obviously haven't won a race over 50,000. And there's some very good horses in it. And Hidden Talent, she's a very good mare, and Mighty Logan, he's a very good horse too, and a horse off the front, Father Time, he runs to excuse me, Kiang Zahara last year. So very good, very big and even field for a $50,000 trot race.
Matty Markham loves him, Father Time. He's a huge rap for him. So there's a little sneaky one there, that's for sure. So going through, and it's a happy birthday What the Hill trot. So it was Lather Up's birthday last week, and this week it's What the Hill. So a little bit of irony there in that. So are you going around this week?
Yeah, he's in that race.
Oh, that's how good I did. I didn't inform. Did you give yourself a chance?
I do. I think he's been racing super his last couple, and his sectionals on Sunday were off the clock. So I'm really happy with the barrier draw, and his if he can step away as quick as what he can and find the fence, they'll know he's there for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck there. Why is there no driver on? Is the other half trainer not happy with the driver at the minute? Is he?
I don't know about that one. Probably have to just have a discussion.
Touch that microphone thing again. God, it's annoying. It's just whatever it is. He doesn't.
I don't know what it is. It's just my iPad.
Yeah, you'll hear it when you listen back listen to yourself. You'll hear what it is. Anything else, Lukey? We got a preview. Sunday racing not done yet, so we can't do that. Is there nothing else?
No, nothing else. I thought that was Friday. Both Friday meetings were good race meetings. That's for sure.
Yep, and everyone going to Auckland for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully onward and upwards as well. I think harness racing's in a good place. We need it to keep going and keep growing bigger and better. So we'll just quickly point out to you these horses that are going through the sales on this Sunday with Nutrien. It's the draft of the Aldebaran Park Trotters as well. So down the bottom of the fillies, the tops are the Colts, and then also Yabby Farms, and they have got 8 fillies in the sale. They did have 9 up until just recently, but and of course 2 of the fillies it is. I won't get it mixed up, but 2 of those fillies, the Village Mystique 276, and the Ready Cash Lot 333 are both NZB Sire Stakes eligible. As well as that's the whole list of horses there. 5 trotters, 5 paces. I think it's an even split Colts and fillies as well. So good opportunity if you want to buy a horse and take it back like Andretti did last year. You are able to do that. Huge thank you to the guys at Cambridge, Night of Champions, and Breckon Farms as well for getting me over there last Friday. Did throw a curveball. Lukey done all his form. He done a big preview ready for the thing, and I couldn't help you out, could I, mate?
Nah, but that's all right. I was ready for you anyway.
I just had a bad week, unfortunately. It's one of my problems is doing a lot of videos going forward, and photos and things along those lines, and it just gets a little bit ridiculous to go from there. So 1 day and 5 hours. So that will be 5 hours. So 5 o'clock, so 7 o'clock your time in New Zealand. The Gavel House sale will finish. I don't think we've had any bids since then. Nope, both still the same thing. But make sure you go to standardbred.gavelhouse.com and keep on top of that. But I'm sure things will start to pick up in the next couple of days with that. Lukey, thank you very much, mate. Always fun to chat. Good luck on the weekend.
Thanks, Paul. Great to hear from you again.
And how many games are we umpiring?
I'll probably have 2 on Saturday.
All right. If you need anyone on a wheelchair, I believe Cambray's available, mate. So you just got to send a message out to him.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you very much, Lukey.